What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, in today's video, we're going to be going over a microcap that I personally do think has a ton of potential, especially in 2024, based on the narrative that they are tapping into. Now, you all know we have been embracing this microcap trend recently. Of course, we saw DIGA go up 500% just in the last few days. We obviously called CZ the GOAT on Sunday, and that thing alone went up over 100% after that video. And so we've been really trying to find these different little lottery tickets that we can throw a little bit of cash into and just see what happens. And in today's video, as I mentioned before, we have another one of those in which we will be talking about MAGA Trump, which of course is a crazy funny meme coin. Now, let me make a disclaimer. I don't care what your political belief is. I don't care what your political opinion is, and you shouldn't care what mine is, okay? By saying that this is a crypto that I think has potential has nothing to do with who is behind it or who they're supporting, but more about the narrative that they're tapping into. You see, I made a post in the Patreon earlier this morning. Let me go ahead and pull it up for you here. And I said, look, I'm under the belief that in 2024, we will see a substantial increase in political and election-based cryptos. With this in mind, I want to try to front-run the narrative by investing in a token that is at the forefront of this possible wave and the most likely candidate for growth if the narrative does play out strong. Now, what you can see is that if we do look at their DEX tools, as November did kick off, we started to see that narrative play out a bit. We're 1 year away from the election. We're already early. This thing could do well, especially as we get closer and closer to the election itself next November. And so, of course, you can see here, as November did start to heat up and as things started to get crazy, that is the moment we did see this thing absolutely starting to catch some momentum, right? I mean, this thing is, it was up at one point over 1,000% months after it launched just because the narrative is so strong. And I'm under the belief that if we can see this now, although maybe things will continue to slow down for a little while, or who knows, maybe it'll turn around and reverse in the opposite direction, as we do start to approach that election, this is one that definitely can continue upwards, especially if an altcoin season does play out around that time, which it very easily could. Now, talking about the company itself, what you can see here is that it launched on August 11th, 2023, and is the first and only cryptocurrency to support Trump in his inevitable 2024 presidential victory. Now, what you can see here is that they have been making a ton of donations from the project itself. On December 8th, they said, today we've sent 2.9 Ethereum to both Fisher House FDTN and Guardian Group GG. Their donation total now currently stands at over 70 ETH, or over $170,000 donated to Trump's presidential campaign. And on top of this, they're also taking some of the funds generated and using it to purchase some of Trump's digital trading cards, as you can see here, which is technically still a donation as well. Now, with all of this in mind, let's talk a little bit about the tokenomics themselves. So of course, we have an idea of who they are, what they do. Their main goal is to help drive some volume, drive some funds towards Trump's presidential campaign. So let's now talk about the token and how the backend works a bit. So what you can see here is there is a 1% tax on buys, sells, and transfers. 0.17 of that goes to buying Trump's digital trading cards. 0.33% goes to U.S. vets and child rescue donations. So it's not just Trump's campaign itself. They're also donating to, you know, the common betterment of the people, which I think is a great thing. And then half of it does go to marketing, development, and adding liquidity. And of course, you got to see, right? I mean, they have a lot of volume, $175,000 in volume in just the last 24 hours, $13 million market cap, liquidity sitting right under $1 million. And so, of course, they've been able to generate substantial funds from this token transactional volume and use that to, of course, grow the project, invest, you know, into their marketing, support President Trump's campaign, a bunch of different things, right? So they actually are using the token for what it needs to be used for, which is the common cause of the project. And I like that. There's not really these little hidden incentives for the team in there. Nothing crazy. It's going towards the growth and betterment, again, of the company itself. Now, what you can see here is they do post all of the receipts. Anytime they make donations, all of the receipts are here. And I do love that. It helps with the transparency. It just has people see, like, look, we're doing what we're saying we're doing, and we will continue to do what we say we will do. Now, on top of all of this, they do hold a weekly Trump Spaces, and I think this is going to get continuously more and more popular, especially as we do venture into the season of the presidential election. And so this will keep their name in the mix and keep more and more investors coming in, seeing the company, seeing the project, which I do believe will help with volume and overall holder count. So with this in mind, I mean, I think that this is one of those narratives it would be a little bit foolish to not at least put a little bit of a bet on, because if it does do what I think it can do, I don't think there's a reason why, if we're in full-blown altcoin season and in the middle of a presidential election season, this couldn't be one of those, you know, 50, 60, maybe even $100 million market cap cryptos, because the narrative would be so strong. So with that in mind, please let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about this narrative, and what do you think about companies like this within the narrative? Also, do understand I post all of my alpha plays over in the Patreon down below. They get early access to a ton of things like what I'm buying, my videos, and all that good stuff. So make sure you do go check that out if you are interested. And while I will see you all very soon in the next video. Peace out, everyone.